Good morning, folks. My name is Diane Barrett, and I've got Diane's Restaurant and Bakery in Silver City, New Mexico. And today I'm going to show you how to make a Lattice-Top Pie, holiday pie. This is an apricot pie. The one we're going to make is going to be strawberry. I'm going to start with flour, salt, and today I'm using lard. You can also use vegetable shortening, or you can use a combination of butter and lard or vegetable shortening. Butter can get very, very tough. I'm going to show you how to make this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hand rub the flour and the lard together. And it's going to form sheets. As you can see, it's forming sheets in my hand. I'm using room temp, and when you form these sheets like this, this is what's going to give you a nice flaky crust. Okay? Got that? Got that? You don't want to overwork your dough too much, and you just want to get it kind of grainy, like grainy looking, about the size of maybe a dime, the flakes. Okay? Then we're going to add some ice water to it, and as you're adding the ice water, just gently pick it up from the bottom. Pick it up from the bottom, and it'll gather the water. Okay? Pick it up from the bottom. There you go. There's your pie dough. Don't overwork it. Here we go. We're going to make 2 balls. There's your bottom crust right there. Now notice I rounded that out. I rounded it out so that I've got the actual shape that I'm going to want. You're going to use about 60% of your dough. You can use any pie crust recipe. But what it is working it is the most important thing. The way that I just worked that is very important to not overwork and to keep your flaky crust. You're going to use about 60% of your dough for the bottom, and you're going to use about 40% for the top. Now, most people would recommend that you take the your dough, and you put it into rounds like this and let it rest in the refrigerator for about an hour. I find it very easy to work with when it's room temperature, just like this. But you do have to use a lot of flour when you're working your dough. So I'm going to put a generous amount of flour on my board. Generous amount of flour. Here we go. Here's our bottom crust. Using a generous amount of flour. You take the pin and you don't push down. Just kind of let it roll itself. Like as if, I don't know how many of you rolled tortillas. You just kind of let it do its thing. And then when it relaxes, you can push harder. But you've already established your round shape, so it makes it very easy to roll. Okay, so we're going to take this very simply. Some people like to roll it over the rolling pin. I find that I tear it. So what I do is I just fold it once, I fold it twice, set the pan down, fold it halfway in the middle like this, and fold it over. And being very careful not to stretch your dough any direction, because if you stretch it, when you bake it, it's going to stretch back and it's going to get all deformed. So here you've got your bottom crust. Make it easier on yourself. Take your egg wash. I've got a whole egg here mixed with a little bit of water and a little bit of milk. I like the milk because later on it gives your pie this real pretty sheen on the top. Okay, so I egg wash it. Here I have a prepared strawberry rhubarb filling that I've already made that I'm putting in here. And that'll be really pretty coming through the holes of the Lattice-Top Pie. Okay, so now, let's make the Lattice-Top. You're going to dust the board again with a lot of flour. Take your smaller piece of dough, which you haven't overworked. There you go. Nice round shape. Set it in the middle. Dust the top of it again. Here we go. Like I say, gently with the rolling pin at first. And then you can bear down a little bit more on it, keeping your same round shape. There we go. It's trying not to be round. There we go. Here is our top. Now, for the sake of you guys being able to see a little bit better what I'm doing here, I'm going to get rid of a little of this flour. Now, okay. The ravioli cutter. It's got a really nice crimped edge. Pastry cutters also have the same thing. It's either a straight edge or a crimped. I like this crimped edge because you get more detail with the final pie. And we, of course, always eat things with our eyes first. Okay, you're going to draw in a straight line towards yourself, about every ½ inch, maybe 6/10 of an inch. You can use a yardstick or a ruler for this if you need to. Okay, I find that if I draw just straight towards myself, I don't have a hard time. If I try to go sideways, it all ends up all very cattywamped. But it will look homemade. Okay, here we go. Now, I've got that right there. I'm going to bring the pie close to myself, and this is where it gets a little tricky. Normally a lattice-top pie is like weaving. You have to take it, you fold it, you this, you that. This is the professional way to do a lattice-top pie. Trust me, it makes it a whole lot easier. You're going to take from the side, you're going to go from like 1 o'clock to 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock if it was a clock, okay? And then we're going to do the same thing right there. Another piece right there. Then we're going to take every other piece and lay it one that way, one this way, one that way, one this way, that way, this way. See, so now we're over halfway through the pie, and we've got every other one, so we have the long ones for the middle, and we have the shorter ones for the outside. So I'll start now in the middle, and I'll come this way, and that, oops, and that way, and this way, and that way. Okay. Now, let me clean up my area a little bit. There. This is a bench cutter, about my favorite tool in the bakery. Okay. So, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to just take a pair of scissors. And I'm going to cut it to about 1 inch all the way around and get rid of the excess dough. Because you don't want it to be too thick right on your crust there. Okay? So we're going to cut a lot of this off. There we go. Set that to the side. And we're going to take this and we're going to egg wash this around the edge. So it has something, the egg wash really acts as the glue so that the dough will stick to itself. You're going to bring it over and just fold it carefully. Fold it. Try not to get the filling on your fingers because you will get the filling on the rest of the dough, and it isn't as pretty if you're using something like blackberry or blueberry because it will mark your dough. So I'm doing just a gentle roll coming all the way around, and I'm sealing my lattice with my bottom crust. Here we go. Now, here's just another little simple trick. Get a little bit of flour on your fingers. And we're going to take our fingers like this along the edge. Just along the top edge of the pie. See, I got a little strawberry on my finger. Wipe that off. If your fingers stick to the dough, just put a little more flour on them. Going all the way around like that. You also, of course, can take a fork and just do the traditional. You can just flatten it out with a fork too if you have a hard time with that. So here's basically your lattice-top pie right there. And what I want to do though is I want to carefully, and it would be better if I had a smaller pastry brush, it really would, but I want to carefully brush the pastry here, okay? And taking your time, and it's okay if you get a little bit on the fruit, but you do want to keep your brush clean of the fruit so you don't spread it on top of your lattice because the fruit will burn if it's on the top of the lattice, okay? And make sure to take enough time to get to really generously egg wash because like I say, this is your glue. Your glue with which now, wait a little bit more, which now I'm going to generously sugar it. I'm going to put sugar on this and a good coating. And you think, boy, that's going to be sweet. No, what it is it really gets very, very pretty. With the egg wash and the sugar, you will get a depth, a sheen in the top of your pie. But you'll see when we pull it out of the oven. Thank you. Okay, so it's about 45 minutes later and the pie has been in a 375-degree oven. Here we go. We're pulling it out. And like I said, this is going to be prettier than the apricot pie that I was showing you before because you can see the strawberry rhubarb coming through.